So we've got a client who is likely to sell their business in the next, I don't know, maybe 6 to 18 months. Businesses in the housing services market and here in Charlotte, the new housing market, new build, new construction, if you will, is still a little slow. And so revenue hasn't reached back to where it was in 2023, 2024. So I don't know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we started interviewing different M&A firms, trying to find the right fit for the seller, for our client. Personality matters so much, so we really had lots of different conversations, and we think we've settled in on the right M&A firm. And in that process, one of the things we do is a quarterly check-in with the M&A firm, and that's been helpful as we've guided the business owner through things they can do to improve the business, right? Have it function better, be more attractive, be more profitable, check all the different boxes that the buyer is eventually going to come in and start circling through. So naturally, we had one of these calls last week. And as we're going through the phone call, we're going through some new things, different topics that are relevant to the business owner, catching up on what they've done, how they've worked, etc. And as we're going through the phone call, one of the natural conversations was, wait a second, a no-brainer right here. You own the underlying real estate in each one of your businesses, don't you? And the natural answer, because we knew it, the natural answer for the business owner was, of course. They own four, maybe five different locations, and each location they own the underlying property in. Each property is owned in its own different LLC. We've gone through that work with them to make sure that the business is set up correctly, the LLCs are set up correctly, like the entire structure is done right. But all of a sudden, it just kind of jumped off the page. Well, wait a second. If you own the real estate and you own the business, we've got to make sure those two things align. And so we need to step back in and have the rental agreements reviewed, make sure that we're charging market rent, make sure that the terms and conditions are right, make sure all of those different things are right, because it's inevitably something going to be, or it's inevitably going to be something that comes up in that due diligence process. They're going to want to know who owns it. They're going to want to know what the terms are. If they find out the business owner owns it as well, it's going to raise some additional questions and concerns, et cetera. So anyways, uncovering that earlier on in the due diligence process prior to actually sitting down, going to market, and certainly prior to getting into the weeds of the due diligence process with the future buyer is the absolute right time to uncover things like this. So remember, when you're going to market, having conversations with the M&A folks, having conversations with your team that you put together to make sure that the business and all the things that support it are structured in a way to make the deal the best it can possibly be is something you've got to take care of. So remember, check the box. Real estate, if owned, gets reviewed as part prior to going to market.